Okay, this is a thought experiment to explain generic subjective continuity, a materialistic or naturalistic conclusion of what would happen after we die. This would be applicable to atheism as well, if the atheist is naturalistic or materialistic. Um, So I will go ahead and start the thought experiment now. So imagine that there are only two conscious or sentient organisms in the entire universe, and they just happen to be here on Earth. And so this first one here is a human that happens to be in an art gallery, and he is or she is looking at this art. This individual is just standing here looking at this art, and uh, the other organism that happens to exist is, we'll say it is a bird that is looking up at this tree for some reason. And so these are the only two experiences or consciousnesses that are in the universe at all. That's it. Nowhere else, anywhere else, for the purposes of this thought experiment, there are no other consciousnesses anywhere else on Earth or anywhere in the universe. So, that's it. There's just these two. And then one of them dies. So let's say that the one on the human on the right side here on the screen dies. And so the only conscious experience that exists now is that of the bird. That's the only conscious experience that is occurring after the other one has died. And as you can see, the other one didn't go and see a black void or anything like that. No. The only experience that is occurring after the other consciousness has ended is the consciousness or the experience of this bird, what the bird is witnessing, seeing here. Um, so after the human in the art gallery died, the only experience that possibly could have came after uh, that individual's death was the experience that is occurring in this bird's brain here observing this tree. And so that is generic subjective continuity. If every single conscious organism in the universe were to die, and then there was just one conscious organism left, whatever that uh, consciousness was experiencing, that would be the only experience that could uh, come after everyone's death, because it is the only experience that is occurring, rather than them being in a black void or nothingness or eternal oblivion. No, they're completely gone. They are so gone that the only thing that could come after they have gone is one of the one and only experience that is occurring. So this is based on the view. Well, actually, it's not really based on the materialistic view that brains cause consciousness. It in Tom Clark's essay "Death, Nothingness, and Subjectivity," he based it on that. But actually, this generic subjective continuity would still be true, no matter what, as long as one consciousness ends and there exists another after it had ended. That's why it's called generic subjective continuity, because there's no um, like soul, there's no soul migration. There is nothing, there's no, as Tom Clark put it, there's no personal continuity. There is just the uh, fact that there is still experience occurring in the universe, or you can call it experience or consciousness. And so I like to say that only experience is experienced. You know, uh, you cannot experience a non experience. You cannot experience your own non existence. The only thing that could be experienced after you have died, the only experiences that are occurring after you die will be the experiences that exist, the ones that are going on or occurring. Uh, so again, there was two consciousnesses in this thought experiment, and then the one on the right died, and so the uh, the only one, the only point of view, or the only experience that is occurring, is that of this bird, and that doesn't mean that the dead person went into the bird. It is simply that the only experience that is occurring is the one that is occurring or is being caused by the bird's brain, or it is just that that's the only experience that is occurring. Whether or not brains do consciousness or not, this is the only experience there is. Um, you could do the same with between like a biological organism and a let's say a soul. So let's say that the person on the right is a a human being, and then a biological human being, and then the thing on the left here, looking at the tree, we could say it's a supernatural soul, and so again, with the thought experiment of these are the only two consciousnesses that exist, period. And so the biological being on the right dies, and same thing. The only experience there is of the one, the soul experience, or whatever you want to call it, the soul's experience. So if that's the only experience that exists, then it is the only experience I can. And I put the word follow the human's death in quotation marks, um, because it's not like it's coming after it, like it's because it was already occurring. It's just that, but in a sense, it is what will be. It's the only experience that exists, so it's the only experience that could come after that person's death. Um, so that there's just for a lack of better words, I use the word after or follows, um, which actually I think they using those words makes perfect sense to me, but some people express that those words they seem to be confused. There's people that take issue with me using those words, but So, if you are confused by this, I suggest watching this video again because I think I did a pretty good job at explaining this pretty well. So, death will not be followed by you being in a black void or emptiness or nothingness or eternal oblivion or silence or, you know, just all that is like I said, only experience is experience. So no matter actually another point to be made is if you know, we don't have souls and you don't go to heaven after death and you don't go to hell or you don't go to purgatory and nirvana or whatever other religions say, then and let's say that materialism is true, then this, what I just told you about, which is called generic subjective continuity, is the the final option or alternative, the final thing. And so it's one of those. The one and only thing that cannot happen after death is an experience of no experience, as Tom Clark puts it. The only thing that could possibly, uh, like I said, only experience is experience. So death can only be followed by an experience. After you rot in the ground, you know, after you die and you cease to exist or whatever, the brain stops causing or doing consciousness. The only thing that, even if it's a million years later that another consciousness comes to exist or to occur, however you want to say it, um, the time in between will be just like, we could say it'll be skipped over, or it'll be, you know, like an instant, uh, almost like whenever you go unconscious from being given anesthesia and you go under and you go unconscious, and then the next thing you know, it, instantaneously you're waking up. It's just like that. But for in the case of generic subjective continuity, it it's well, it's complicated in the scenario that I'm showing you here with the thought experiment that I proposed here with the bird and the human. Um, because after, see, this person here has all of his or her memories and stuff, his unique personality and behaviors and feelings and everything like that, the experience of being this being, uh, all those memories and stuff, and uh, all the senses, the smells, and everything he or she is hearing. And then there's all the memories and the way, the sensation of this bird, you know, what it's like to be that bird and the sounds that that bird is hearing and all those memories that that bird has ever experienced are already there. You know, they, just like you right now, you have all your memories in place and stuff. So if somebody just died just now, and your consciousness is what came after that person or animal died just now, uh, you wouldn't feel anything, and it isn't like they went into you. It's just that your experience is one of the experiences that exist, and so it is possible that your consciousness is the experience that came after that person's death. And so what comes along with your experience are all of your memories, your entire experience. You know, the whole package comes, uh, not just, so it's not like uh, the sensation of always having been there, as Tom Clark puts it, would be that's the sensation that you kind of feel right now. You just have this kind of almost like this ever present feeling of now, or this always having been there kind of feeling. And so if this person dies and then this is the only experience that comes next, it it will feel basically how you feel now, that you didn't feel like just a second ago. You didn't feel like you just emerged out of a void or anything like that. Even after you were born, you don't recall a void or anything like that. You don't, you weren't existing in a black void before you were born or anything like that. So I think I explained this pretty well. I wanted to do it this way because the last thought experiment that I did with the brains floating in space and all that, um, I felt like it was lacking something visceral that I wanted to, you know, I think eventually their technology would allow for someone to eventually make like a virtual reality experience uh, where they could simulate generic subjective continuity very well. Um, Maybe even eventually technology to implement um, kind of like a being John Malkovich type of deal, only maybe gives you see, it's really hard to imagine them implanting new memories and whatnot. So, anyways, so you can imagine that this is you. You know, you're here at this gallery looking at art, and then you die, and suddenly there's, yeah, this is the bird. And so, as Alan Watts says, everyone is I. You know, you call yourself I call myself I, your neighbor calls themselves I. Everyone refers to themselves as I or me, and that's because we are all what is known as a self. We are selves, and we can simplify the self even further by just calling it experience, because that's what it is. Being a self is being an experience. So, in a way, whenever this generic subjective continuity happens, uh, we could say that this is the new you. You in a generic sense, you in quotation marks. Just like I said, everyone is I to themselves. So, you know, we just label each self with a name, when in fact, what it is a all the experience is basically the same. Each brain is causing or doing experience. At its very core, uh, at the baseline, experience is just a sensation of what it is like to uh, be something, or to feel something, or uh, you know, really, experience is just experience. You know, uh, that sounds really redundant, but at its very core, that's as far as we can explain it. It's just experience, because I don't really think we had the words to take it any further than that. Anyways, so I feel like, let's do that one more time. Uh, you, and then, these are the only two consciousnesses. Let's say you're on the right, and then the bird is on the left. They're in two completely different locations. You're in this art gallery, and the bird is in the woods somewhere. Another whole different part of the earth somewhere. And then you die, and the only experience that is occurring is this one. And so it is the only experience there is. And so we can say that that experience comes after your death. Anyways, I was attempting to cover everything in this video, so that's why it's so long, because I get so many questions and people trying to refute me and stuff. Of course, generic subjective continuity could be wrong. It is not unfalsifiable. It is untestable. But logically, it's completely sound. But it can be proven wrong if we do, in fact, have eternal souls, immortal souls. If we can prove that, then generic subjective continuity would be wrong. But it seems as if it is a law of some sort, like a law of nature, that, once again, only experience is experienced. As Tom Clark put it, consciousness is always present for itself. And so, after one consciousness ceases or ends, the only experiences that are occurring are those that are occurring, and so only one of those can come after this one. So, anyways, I feel like I am rambling, so I'm going to stop. So, please like this and comment on it and share it. And, thanks for watching.